Has a woman ever looked deeply into your eyes and told you that she feels completely safe with you? Or perhaps she whispered that she's never felt this level of comfort, this total ease to be her true, unfiltered self with any other man in her past. It feels incredible to hear. It validates your masculinity, your strength, and your protective instincts. But here is the cold truth you need to understand. If a woman is playing a game, those exact beautiful phrases are not confessions of love. They are calculated psychological tools designed to disarm your critical thinking. To understand why this works so effectively, we have to look directly at human biology. Neurobiological studies show a distinct asymmetry in how male and female brains process emotional feedback. The male brain possesses a highly sensitive neural pathway for positive stimuli and vocal validation. Men are biologically wired to thrive on appreciation, respect, and recognition. When a woman fires off targeted praise, your brain lights up with a massive surge of dopamine. It blinds you. Conversely, evolutionary data shows the female brain is often more acutely attuned to negative stimuli as a survival mechanism to detect threat or instability. A manipulative woman understands this dynamic intuitively. She knows that while she might be hyper-aware of flaws, you are hyper-responsive to positive reinforcement. She uses these sweet lies precisely because they act like an emotional anesthetic. They numb your suspicion, lower your guard, and make you incredibly malleable. Whether you are currently in the casual dating phase, deeply infatuated, or completely locked into a long-term relationship, these dynamics apply across the board. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on the exact psychological layout of these phrases, exposing the hidden agendas behind them, and revealing the single four-letter word that transforms even the strongest men into absolute putty in a user's hands. This is the entry-level sweet lie, and it catches millions of high-value men completely off guard because it feels completely harmless. Who wouldn't want to be praised for their intellect, their wit, or their ability to listen? But you have to judge a person's intent by the medium of their investment. If a woman is constantly sending you paragraph-long text messages, checking in on you every morning, and asking for your advice on her deepest personal dilemmas, it feels like she's highly invested. But if these deep, emotionally intimate interactions only happen behind a screen or over a late-night phone call, you need to step back and look at the broader pattern. If she is highly responsive on her smartphone but suddenly becomes completely unavailable, vague, or busy the exact moment you try to schedule an actual face-to-face date, you are dealing with an attention vampire. In the modern dating landscape, attention is a premium currency. Women who are actively using you for this currency view you as an emotional placeholder. You are the steady, stable, reliable guy who heals her boredom and validates her ego while she is actively pursuing or waiting on the volatile bad boy or high-status man who ignores her. Men consistently mistake high engagement for high romantic interest. You assume that no woman would spend 3 hours texting you if she didn't want to be with you. But to a user, your attention is free therapy. She gets to consume your energy, your time, and your emotional stability on her exact schedule, completely on her terms. The moment she gets what she needs, she tucks you back into her pocket until her ego needs another boost. If she loves talking to you but refuses to look at you across a dinner table, you aren't her partner. You are her digital fan club. You're so strong. You're so attractive. You're so insanely successful. You're just the most generous man I've ever met. Every single man listening to this wants to be appreciated for his hard work, his physical appearance, and his character. Genuine compliments are the lifeblood of a healthy relationship. But a manipulative woman does not use compliments to appreciate you. She uses them to prime you. She treats flattery exactly like a transaction, investing a tiny bit of verbal validation up front so she can cash out a massive material return later. The key to spotting this lie is a concept called temporal proximity, which simply means looking at how much time passes between her pouring on the praise and her dropping a request. If she tells you how incredibly successful and capable you are, and then casually mentions a couple of hours later, or even a few days later, that her car is making a weird noise, her rent is slightly short, Or there is a specific designer item she's been dying to get but just can't justify buying. You are watching a script unfold. She is systematically building up your ego so that your pride prevents you from saying no. Because if you say no to her request, you feel like you are losing the high status she just granted you. If you don't pay for that dinner, fix that broken fence, or cover that bill, you are no longer the generous, successful, strong man she claimed you were. This is highly sophisticated emotional blackmail. Real, authentic admiration is given freely with zero strings attached. Manipulative flattery always comes with a hidden invoice. Let's be completely honest with ourselves. This is the ultimate ego trap for a man. It strikes directly at the core of male sexual pride. If a woman looks at you and declares that you are, without a doubt, the best lover she has ever had, the only man who truly knows how to handle her body, your analytical brain completely shuts down. Your confidence goes through the roof, and suddenly you feel entirely invincible. And that is exactly what she wants, because a man who feels invincible is a man who stops asking difficult questions. When a user deploys hyper-exaggerated sexual validation, it is almost always used as a psychological shield to deflect from her bad behavior or her lack of real-world investment in the relationship. You must pay attention to when these intense declarations occur. Often, this sweet lie is used right after she has crossed a line, violated a boundary, or acted completely selfishly. It can also be used as a setup to secure immediate forgiveness for an upcoming mistake she knows you are about to discover. By keeping you drunk on sexual validation, she ensures that whenever you start to notice the massive red flags in her character, like her secrecy, her entitlement, or her lack of genuine care, your brain immediately counters with, "Yeah, but the chemistry we have is completely unmatched." She is trading vocal physical validation in exchange for your total tolerance of her toxic behavior. Do not let sexual flattery blind you to structural character flaws. A queen who truly values her king respects him outside the bedroom just as much as she praises him inside it. These are the three heaviest words in the human language, but to a professional user, they are completely weightless. Now, we have to make an important distinction here. Not every premature or untrue "I love you" is a sign of malicious manipulation. Sometimes a woman will say it back to you simply because you said it first, and she wants to avoid an incredibly awkward, uncomfortable silence. She might genuinely hope that her feelings will eventually catch up to her words down the road. That isn't using you, that's just human confusion. But a user reads the phrase "I love you" as an absolute master key. She observes how much you care for her, notes your emotional vulnerability, and realizes that dropping those three words will instantly shatter whatever remaining defenses you have left. She weaponizes the sentiment to accelerate the commitment timeline before she has actually earned a place of honor in your life. Watch the timing closely. Does she only say she loves you right when you begin to pull away? Does she say it when you start pulling back your financial support, or when you begin calling out her highly inconsistent behavior? If her declarations of love only appear as a desperate damage control mechanism to keep you from leaving, or right before she asks for an immense sacrifice on your part, it is a counterfeit phrase. It is a leash designed to keep you emotionally attached while she continues her entirely selfish agenda. We have arrived at the single most potent, dangerous, and intoxicating sweet lie a man can ever hear. In the modern dating world, very few women use this specific word anymore, which actually makes it tenfold more effective when a user finally pulls it out of her arsenal. It isn't the word love that makes a man complete putty in a woman's hands. It is the word hero. The desire to be a protector, a provider, and a savior is deeply embedded within the male DNA. Entire entertainment empires, from classic mythology to modern blockbusters, are built entirely on this singular instinct. Men want to rescue the damsel. When a woman looks at you with wide, vulnerable eyes and tells you that you are her hero, she is bypassing your intellect and targeting your ancient evolutionary programming. The underlying trick behind the hero lie is that it sets you up to handle heavy, stressful responsibilities that she should completely be managing on her own. The moment you accept the title of her hero, you suddenly feel obligated to save her from her own chaotic life choices. You become her personal mechanic, her late-night chauffeur, her unpaid handyman, or her human automated teller machine. If a woman frequently calls you her savior, you need to look very closely at the environment. Is she actually admiring your noble character, or is she just looking for someone to carry the heavy financial and logistical burdens of her life for free? When a user realizes that her sweet flattery, her sexual praise, and her vocal affirmations are no longer working to manipulate you, she will instantly flip the script. She will completely abandon the sweetness and pivot immediately to intense emotional guilt. The most common variation of this is the devastating accusation, "You clearly don't care about me, and you never actually loved me." This phrase almost always rears its head the exact moment you establish a firm, healthy boundary, say a definitive no to an unreasonable demand, or call her out directly on her toxic behavior. For example, let's say you have consistently picked up the expensive tab at every single luxury restaurant you visited for months, and she has never once offered to chip in, pay for a tip, or cover a simple coffee. The moment you calmly suggest that it would mean a lot to you if she contributed to a meal, a user will not apologize or reflect. Instead, she will launch into a massive, dramatic defense. She will tell you how incredibly hard she is working, how deeply she is struggling financially, and how completely heartless you are for even bringing it up. She will weaponize her tears to make you feel like the bad guy for expecting basic entry-level reciprocity. Let's be completely direct here. If she is working a basic job and absolutely cannot afford a high-end lifestyle, she has no right to demand that you fund a luxury designer wardrobe or five-star vacations under the threat of questioning your love. Intimacy and affection are not currencies to be bartered in exchange for material goods. It is completely unfair, and it is not your responsibility to pay for her past financial mistakes. If you find yourself repeatedly falling into these traps, constantly attracting women who drain your bank account, your time, and your emotional sanity before discarding you, you need to look at your selection process. You have to learn how to value yourself enough to look past verbal smokescreens and analyze raw behavior instead. So, how do you distinguish between a woman who is a toxic user and a woman who is genuinely sincere? It all comes down to two major concepts: consistency and reciprocity. A sincere, high-value woman will offer you deep appreciation and vocal compliments when you least expect it, with absolutely zero hidden requests attached to them. When you establish a clear boundary or say no to a favor, a sincere woman will respect your decision, understand your limits, and adapt without launching into a guilt trip or throwing an emotional tantrum. Most importantly, a keeper doesn't just look at you as a source of rescue or utility. She will actively invest her own time, her own energy, and her own resources to make your life easier, more peaceful, and more successful. She wants to pour value back into your cup, not just drink from it until it's completely dry. If the woman you are dating displays this level of real, unprompted reciprocity alongside her sweet words, guard her with your life. She is the real deal. But if her praise always comes attached to an invoice, do yourself a massive favor. Drop the hero cape, wake up to reality, and walk away. Thank you so much for watching today's deep dive. If this breakdown brought you immense value, make sure to hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and share your thoughts in the comments down below. God bless you, and I will see you in the very next video.